And we'll begin here as the Somali connection to Minnesota's staggering fraud scandal continues to be revealed. Representative Ilhan Omar now facing a fresh round of scrutiny for her jaw-dropping increase in personal net worth. You know, we've heard from a number of people who are terribly curious about this, and you might be as well. According to the Congresswoman's most recent 2024 financial disclosure form, the 43-year-old Democrats' combined household wealth has gone up an astonishing 3,500%, and that's since the end of 2023 alone. That means her current fortune is something in the neighborhood of $30 million. And stop for a second and really drink that in. Now we'll take a closer look at how Omar claims she came about all that hard-earned cash. And for starters, she's pinning the blame on her own husband. Yeah, throw that poor slob under the bus. Former political consultant turned venture capitalist Tim Minette claiming that he's had a good run of luck lately with a couple of his enterprises. And just how good, you might ask? Try this one on for size. In just 1 year, Omar says the value of Minette's venture capital firm skyrocketed from under $1,000 with no income at all to suddenly having a net worth of up to $25 million, even though the firm had zero reported income. I know what you're thinking. Tell me more. Yeah, we found out more. Additionally, she says that during the same time frame, her husband's California winery magically saw its value soar from $50,000 to nearly $5 million, and basically overnight. Now, if that doesn't make you raise an eyebrow, check this out. Omar makes less than $175,000 a year for her role as a congresswoman, a government job. And when she first entered Congress back in 2018, she reported a negative net worth, including substantial student loan and car payments as well. And by the way, this isn't the first time that people have been questioning the financial activities of the Congresswoman and her husband. In 2019, Omar widely panned for forking over $3 million in campaign money to her husband's former consultancy group as part of the 2020 election cycle. And mind you, this transfer took place before the two were even married. In the meantime, the lawmaker who's ratcheting up efforts to kick Omar out of Congress entirely, now doubling down and pushing for a full-scale investigation into whether or not the Congresswoman ever actually committed or covered up any type of alleged fraud at all. Furthermore, Florida Republican Randy Fine claims there's a pervasive culture of immigration, Medicaid, and welfare fraud running through Minnesota's entire Somali community. That Omar is basically their kind of ringleader, and that turns out she lied in any way. She should be sent back to her country of birth along with everyone else. It's what you call Randy Fine fighting words. And for her part, Omar trying to get Fine kicked out of Congress as well, saying he's nothing more than a flat-out racist. No, he's really not. She also is pushing back against any and all critics of her recent financial windfall, claiming they're simply part of a coordinated right-wing effort to bring her down. Deflection to the nth degree. Final thought, and this is the News Roundup Lowdown. Look, I'm no math whiz, and I'm far from a genius with numbers, but something here doesn't exactly add up. Now, even if you made $1 million a year and never spent a nickel of it, and you weren't taxed on any of it, and you socked it all away, it would still take you 30 years to accumulate $30 million. That's pretty basic math. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it kind of feels like we might not know the full and complete story. And to explain everything away by saying the astronomical amount of money in her checking account is from her husband's holdings sounds mildly peculiar, maybe even questionable, but I'm just a dumb old roundupper. What do I know? It's also this, and honestly, I'm thrilled that her and her hubby have 30 million clams in loose change lying around the house. But think on this. You'll recall that on a number of occasions, Miss Omar has been more than candid about the wealthy not paying their fair share in taxes. And now that she's miraculously a member of the Multi-Millionaires Club, well, perhaps she'll step in and dole out 70 or 80 or 90% of her wealth, with a good portion of that going to fund, at her request, social programs. However, we'll have to ensure that her tax money doesn't fund the social programs which have fallen victim to fraud in her Minnesota district and statewide. Hey, Producer Davey, it'd all be good if she ponies up the dough, but I'd be satisfied. What are you thinking?
Well, Bill, I don't think she'd be stupid enough to make any major mistakes on her congressional forms, but it's sure hard to explain how you can increase your net worth without any sort of legitimate income.
Yeah, and just like that overnight. Look, greed and gross wealth only evil when it's somebody else's wealth, not when it's hers. In that case, it's going to be a little bit different.